Hey guys, and welcome to PCN's channel. Today we are having a look at the new Nintendo 3DS XL, or known as the new Nintendo 3DS LL in Japan and Asia, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Now, the question is this a console worth having in 2022? Is this something that you've got? Is it just sitting in your drawer? Or is it something you may want to purchase? And if you do want to purchase it, I recommend purchasing it now, because over the past year, I've slowly seen the price creep up. You know, a year ago, they were like £100 to get. Now they're more like in good condition, like 150, 160, 180 pounds. So the value of these have gone up. Now Pro Evo 11 isn't the reason I've got this. For example, now it's just the stuff that we've got on here. Now there is more stuff for the DS that you can do. I've only got a selection of stuff that I want to use on there. And so what we've got is we've got the GBA game injection. So this is some of my favorite GBA games. I've got some of the Castlevania games on here. I've got some fan translated games. So literally any Game Boy Advance game, you could just convert it into a virtual console injection and put it on there as if you did buy it from the virtual console. So this includes fan translations. You can put hacked ROMs on there. So I've got some Castlevania hacks on here. So I have been looking at hacked Castlevania ROMs recently, and I've been looking at Castlevania Symphony of the Night randomizers, which I've even got on here. So if we go back out of here, let's have a look what's next. Okay, so this is, I've got Retroarch installed on here, and I've just put all the Retroarch cores that I'm using into a tidy place. So I deleted some, that's why you've got the gaps and they're not organized nicely. So we've got like Game Boy, PC Engine, Atari Lynx, NES, that's the PlayStation, that's Final Burn Alpha. So, and we've got the Genesis obviously, and that one is the Sega Master System. So there's a variety of different consoles here. Super Nintendo is not done well through RetroArch, and it's not done at full speed. So I've decided to download the SNES 9X, which is a standalone emulator, which works fairly well. I mean, emulation on this thing isn't the best, but while I'm awaiting my analog pocket, I just thought I like the form factor of this. It's small, it's not big like my GPD WinMax, which I absolutely love, but I can't put it in my pocket and just smash it in there, where the DS definitely feels more like a toy. Now, what I have done is all my cartridges, I've actually backed up. So there's built into the firmware is something that lets you rip your cartridges and your saves. So for example, like Monster Hunter 4U, which I've probably put 800 hours into, I've ripped the save for that, I've ripped the cartridge and I've ripped the save, and I've just put all my cartridges away, bar Pro Evolution Soccer 11, which I'm just using to fill the cartridge slot, to be honest. And sorry, I'm holding this with one hand because the way I've got my phone angled, the tripod will fall if I do it. Okay, so we just have a look at some of the Homebrew apps. Okay, so you've got a Homebrew store, which gives you which gives you access to like Homebrew applications such as a Game Boy Advance emulator, a version that YouTube that's available. You've got a theme maker, so this lets you manage themes and have your own custom themes on there. This is a universal updater, which lets you download various Homebrew applications. Very handy to have. We've got Checkpoint, which lets you back up your saves. Very important for when you're transferring your cartridges over to as eShop releases. FPI, this is what you need to install everything. Luma, which I believe is the actual custom firmware. I'm not too clued up on this. This here is very good. So if we just boot this up, and I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. Okay, as you can see, yeah, I've edited some of this out. It takes a while to boot up, especially I think it takes longer the bigger memory card you've got in here, and I've got a 128 in here, and it is possible to put a 128 in there. You just need to format it to FAT32, so you can just Google that. It's not very difficult to do. So I've got some Nintendo DS Castlevania ROM hacks on here. I'm not sure if I'm going to play them on here, but I've got DSi, so I prefer playing on that. But if you haven't got a DSi, they're absolutely fine to play on here. There's no issues with that whatsoever. And obviously, if we step out one, you've got all your different Atari 2600, Atari 5200. You can have your DSi wear on there. So if there's any that you missed out on, you can get them and put them in there. Game Boy Advance. We've got Genesis, Game Gear, Nintendo DS games, which we were just showing. Okay, that's the NDS hacks I was putting in there. NES, Sega Master System, SNES. That is TurboGrafx 16, which is the PC Engine, and that's kind of it for the emulation. Now, emulation isn't great on the 3DS by any means, but it is okay. And just to have something I can fit in my pocket that's a console and not really a PC, it's better. It's okay. But what we'll do next is we'll look at some of the emulation in while it's running. There's some that runs fine at full speed, and there's some that run slow. So we'll have a look at some of those. Right, guys, this is some of the stuff that I like on this. So let's boot up Retroarch on our new 3DS. Now, Retroarch isn't the greatest. I've got it on most of my machines, with the exception of maybe my microwave. But if I could get it on my microwave, I would put Retroarch in my microwave. But you know, I don't have a microwave like that. So I've already put some stuff on here. So if we go into playlists, I've got obviously Atari links on here. So all the cores that I showed you earlier, this is the playlist that corresponds to those cores. I haven't done Sega Master System yet. So we've got Final Burn Neo. So if we just go in here, you can see that there's an ample amount of games in here. Final Burn Neo, there's just lots and lots of games in here. Now, compatibility is a bit of an issue. CPS1, CPS2, Neo Geo games work fine. Any game made by Sega, like Shinobi, Alien Storm, Golden Axe, Shadow Dancer, they just suck. There's no better way of saying it. They run really slow. I don't know what I can do about it. I spent most of yesterday experimenting with this. PC Engine, ample games, they run absolutely fine. Nintendo Game Boy Color runs absolutely fine. Nintendo Game Boy runs really well, I have to say. And it's even got an overlay that kind of gives it a green effect, which looks quite nice. Nintendo Entertainment System, yeah, this runs absolutely fine. Super Nintendo doesn't run fine. I've still got it on here because I scanned it and I tried it, but I'm using the same ROM set to run the SNES 9X standalone emulator, which the performance is much better. And you can get most of the emulators from some of the Homebrew apps that I showed earlier. If you just go on there, it'll give you the option to download them, and they usually are the best versions and the most optimized, the ones that are on there, at least in my experience. Game Gear again runs absolutely fine. And the Genesis, the games I've tried so far ran absolutely fine on them. So let's my Sony PlayStation 1 isn't really showing up. So let's just go for a few games. So we'll have a look at an Atari Lynx one first. Let's just load up APB. Okay, so I've already kind of set the core associations, so it knows it will run with the handy here you go, handy Lynx. So this is APB running. The reflection of my curtains above. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so I have to get 2 cones. Okay, difficult to play while I've got my thing down, but just an idea of it. Now, I recommend setting hotkeys to start and select to exit the menu, but ultimately you can just tap the bottom screen and it brings up the options. But let's do that. Okay, so now we want to close content. Let's go over to our next playlist. So we'll go over to Final Burn Neo. Actually, rather than going for all the games, no. Okay, so if I go over to favorites, I know I put some in here. So it takes a while to load. I will edit those out, but bear in mind they take 30 to 60 seconds to load, so it's not super quick. But we'll have a look at a few games. Okay, so that's loaded up, and that took about 25 to 30 seconds to load up. Another good tip that I read online was Retroarch gives you a whole bunch of cores. What you want to do is only make a folder called cores not used and put all the cores you're not going to use in there. So if you've limited the number of cores you've got in, on the actual DS installed and within the folder in Retroarch, it just takes longer. It takes quicker for it to load. As you can see, this is running at full speed. It's absolutely fine. Okay, cool. Let's move on to another game. Right, here we are, ready and loaded now. This felt full speed to me. Sorry, I can't really play this because I've got my DS laid down flat. Let's see if I can manage one fireball. I'll be happy. Oh, done an uppercut. Okay, not bad. Okay, I can't do a fireball though. Okay, but look, as you can see, this is Hyper Street Fighter 15th Anniversary Edition, and it's running well. Sorry, I'm moving the DS around. So let's have a look at a game that doesn't run well now, just to give you an example. Right, so Shadow Dancer is loaded. And let me turn the sound up a bit. You can hear from the sound that it's slow. So all the Sega games are a no-go. Look, you can see how slow it is. Yep, see there? Okay, so Sega games are a no-go. So there's a few games that I'm figuring out are a no-go. We'll have a look at another game that runs badly. Okay guys, another arcade game that I like. I'll leave the volume up high. But straight away from the sound you can see it's running slow. I've had a look to see what can be done, but look how slow he's walking. You can hear the sound. Like, so, you know, while not ideal, let me just put the sound down a bit. While not ideal for all your emulation needs, you know, it can run some stuff well and it can run some stuff not well. So what I'm doing is I'm just compiling a list of favorites of the games that do run well. So if I do want, you know, to have some of my retro stuff running on here, I can play it. So let's go over to the next playlist. Okay, next let's have a look at PC Engine. Okay, so as the PC Engine games are generally smaller in size than the arcade games, it's a lot quicker. It's a lot quicker for the games to start and begin. So I had this game on my Japanese one. I never knew it was called. We always thought it was called Gunhead, and that might actually be the name, the Japanese name for this game. Very good shoot 'em up. But as you can see, it's running full speed. There's no issues with it. And it's running nicely. As far as like input lag goes, the emulators that work well on this, I don't really feel too much input lag. There's no run ahead on this or anything, but it feels better than it does on Android. And on Android, I'm using like a flagship phone. I'm using my wife's old Pixel 3, and yeah, I just find Android to be more laggy than even the underpowered 3DS. Let's have a look at the next playlist now. Okay, so let's have a look at the Game Boy Color. Okay, let's have a look at Street Fighter Alpha, which I really thought was a good game. I've got a cart for this, and I really liked it. It's a 2-button game. It's fun to play the CPU. It has a lot of charm. So let's check this out. As you can see, it's running full speed. It's fine, and for me, Street Fighter are good games to test, because if there is, you know, if there are issues in it, I'm more likely to spot them than with games I'm not too familiar with. Okay, let's see if we can roll out Fireball. Here we go. Okay, cool. But yeah, look, that's that's running well. Let's try and finish on a super, or just do a super. We've not finished the round. Oh yeah, here we go. Eat that add-on. Oh, you block it, huh? Okay, cool. Let's have a look at the next playlist, which I think is going to be the normal Game Boy. Okay, so this was a favorite game of mine growing up. Not only did I just like watching Turtles, I loved the game too. Okay, so I really like playing Game Boys with the green screen. It makes it feel a bit more authentic. So let's try that out. Let's go to, where was it? Okay, on screen overlay and display overlay. Where was it now? Overlay preset. Yep, okay, that's already set now. Cool. All right, so now when we go back in game, here we go, looks green. Not too happy about the bezels, but if it makes the screen look a bit more green, I'm okay with that. So again, Game Boy runs absolutely fine. You haven't got shaders on here that you've got more powerful PCs. You've got overlays, so I can't really get rid of those bezels because the green tint is kind of part of that. It's just one big overlay that's put on the screen. But you know, I'm okay with the bezels as long as I've got the kind of green screen there. Even though I don't think this is the authentic green that the original Game Boy had, but still, you know, something you're playing like on your DS. It's cool, and you know, I'll like it, at least until I get my analog pocket. I'll do that. Actually, you know what, I've actually ordered an IPS screen for my Game Boy Color, so that should be arriving soon, and I'm going to do the upgrade for that. And I've ordered I've got a flash card for it already, so we'll try that out. Right, let's look at the next playlist. Okay, so next up, NES. Let's just go here and look at. Okay, as you can see, NES is running okay, and it's running at full speed, so we're good with that. Let's move on to the next playlist. Okay, so let's have a look at Game Gear. Now, I have to say, I no longer have a Game Gear. One of the reasons I'm looking forward to the analog pocket is having access to like Game Gear games again, on the closest thing you can get to original hardware by not having original hardware. But I did have a Game Gear, but obviously we sold it because batteries were just too expensive. You know, even the rechargeables didn't last that long. But this is running full speed, no issues with this. Okay. Now, I have to say, there was a lot of very good games on the Game Gear, and a lot of effort went into the games. It's just a shame that the battery life sucked. I think I must have to get a gun from somewhere. But oh, here we go. Oh, I need to keep my finger on it. It's a flamethrower. Can we flamethrower this guy? No, I can't jump into it. Okay, but you can see Game Gear is running okay, and we'll have a look at another playlist now. Okay, so Genesis. Whenever I test the Sega Genesis, I always like going to Streets of Rage 2, which is, you know, the best Streets of Rage in the series. Let me know if you think different, but I really like Streets of Rage 2. I even prefer it to Streets of Rage 4, and I think Streets of Rage 4 is a great game. But hit detection in this game was superb. You know, a lot of the arcade games, and I think I've said this before in my other videos, a lot of the arcade beat-em-ups were coin guzzlers. They were designed to eat your money, whereas Streets of Rage was designed for a console. So, you know, it wasn't there to eat your money. So it was quite good in how it worked. Let's put the sound up a bit. I'm not actually sure if this is spot on. It might be a tad slow. It's difficult for me to say. I mean, I find it okay. I find it playable, but there might be an issue. I've got a friend who's like a Streets of Rage expert. I'd like him to kind of look at this and review it. Genesis emulation might be a tad slow. I might have to just get a standalone emulator and try that, as often the standalone has better performance. But from what I understand, the next one we're going to do, which is PlayStation, it has the Retroarch has better performance than the standalone. Okay, let's move on to that. So, as I've got different type of ROMs on there, I wasn't able to scan the PlayStation playlist. It won't let me scan it, or it wouldn't generate a playlist. Now, what you can do is if you go to load content, and I put it in my downloads folder. So if I go to PlayStation, now you can see here, oops, okay, let the focus come back. So I've got, this is the vanilla Symphony of the Night ROM, and this here are randomizer ROMs. So these are ROMs, you know, that start with random gear. And what you have to do, I'll leave a link in the description to the randomizer. And what you can do is you go over to the randomizer and you use a bin file, or there's another type of file, but it's not a CHD. But in order to have it running on your NDS through Retroarch, it's best advised that you convert the ROM over to a CHD. So once you convert your normal ROM via the randomizer to a randomized game, you then convert the bin file, the Q file, the .q file, CUE, over to a .chd file for best results. But what we'll do is we'll run the vanilla version first, and we want the Sony PlayStation Core. Now, if you are interested in playing PlayStation in your 3DS, have a look at the guides online. There's various ways of optimizing it, and there's lots and lots of info online. When you search it, it will come up, you'll find a guide, and it tells you what options to change, how to do everything. I'm not going to do this in this video, I'm just showing you what you can do, but there's ample guides available online that show you everything. Now this, once it's tweaked, and you kind of change the options and you put in a CHD, it runs at full speed. And this is one of my favorite games, probably my favorite game on the PS1. I've not played it, I don't know it as well as a lot of the other guys that play it do. But let's just have a quick look at the intro. You'll be able to see straight away. Here we go, as we can see, it's running at full speed.
Time, monster. You don't belong in this world. It was not by my hand that I'm once.
Let's have a look at the randomized ROMs. Okay, so I've got a save file on here, and it should. Here you go. Look, if you look at the top there, it's got the randomized generator code. So if you wanted this same ROM, you would just put that code into the randomizer, and it will make exactly the same random version of Symphony of the Night. Now I'm hoping this is full speed and all my options did save. It seems okay, but it's difficult to judge the way I'm kind of holding and playing this. I'm not playing it like properly. I'm not sure if it is a bit slow or anything, but yeah. So this is the randomized ROM. It feels okay actually. Yeah, so this is the randomized ROM. I started with a really good weapon, so I'm literally just cutting straight through enemies like a hot knife through butter. But it's just really nice being able to play my hacked ROMs or my randomized ROMs on here. So I'm playing, Symphony of the Night on the PlayStation 1, full speed, hacked ROM. I'm playing like the GBA ROMs, should I want to play them on here. And I'm playing like the NDS ones. They're all available to play. Obviously, you can play the normal games as well. But I've been having a lot of fun with the hack stuff. I was hoping just to tear up an enemy so you could see the power of this blade. But okay, let's move on to something else. And lastly, I am going to move over to the SNES standalone emulator. Okay, sorry, I wasn't looking at the bottom screen. It was there. Okay, so again, Super Street Fighter 2, which was running slow, which runs slow through Retroarch, it runs full speed on here. So okay, cool. But yeah, that was kind of it. Yeah, so guys, this was it really. This is why I wanted to kind of show you guys the 3DS, what can emulate well. There's a lot more stuff on there. You can play Doom on there. There's a lot of Homebrew games on there. You can actually get like a video player should you want to play it. There's 3D movies as well. I've got a few 3D movies on here. I've got like the Star Wars movies and a few of my favorite movies. So the 3DS, the new 3DS or the new 3DS XL, or even a new 2DS, if you're not really fussed about the 3D, I really like the 3D. I think it looks absolutely gorgeous, and the games that I love playing games in 3D, especially like Monster Hunter. I played a lot of that. So you know, if you want a 3DS, you want to kind of preserve your games and turn your cartridges into digital. You want to run GBA games and DS games natively. They're not emulated; they're running natively. On there, you can do that. You know, the custom firmware is just absolutely brilliant. I put it on there a while ago. It's just I saw that Castlevania Symphony of the Night or the PlayStation 1 emulation was good, so I thought I wanted to try it. And then I tried the randomized ROMs on there, which you know you can put on there for yourself. So I've got my GPD Win Max, which I like playing on, but I can't put it in my pocket. It's not really like it's not a console; it's a PC. So I'm glad I've got this, and I'll be enjoying some of the games on here, and some of the games that I've shown here I will be playing. So guys, if you enjoyed this video, drop me a thumbs up. It really does help the channel. You know, consider subscribing for more content like this and other random gaming content. So yeah, thank you for watching, and until the next video, PCN out.